Hello, Damien. Welcome, and everybody who's watching and listening. Welcome to our new podcast series, Breath Work at Work. Breath Work and Work. Breath Hub at Work. Welcome, Damien. How are
Hi,
you
thank you.
today?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So you're a yoga teacher, and you're also teaching some breathing exercises, yoga
Correct.
poses. You're working with, employees. You're working with a lot of people on the corporate environment, helping them, coaching them to become more healthy. And I believe you also are a strong believer, like me, on sustainable health and well-being
Of course.
because it's not going to happen overnight, but it's like it's going to need some effort. It's going to need some practice, regular practice. I'm going to start by asking you, maybe you could introduce yourself to our listeners and whoever is watching on YouTube now.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So first, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be called upon to be on your first live and your first episode of your podcast. So thank you very much. Um, so just to get into a bit about myself, I am 35 years old, and I stay in South Africa. I've been involved in the fitness and health industry for the last 6 to 7 years. Before that, I worked in, I'll call it the corporate space, but it was still kind of relating to the sports world. So I was a rugby analyst, and then from that, I was in the sports betting world, which was long hours and yeah, a very interesting industry to be in, very high stress, etc. So then I decided to go on my own, and I went and got my personal training qualification. I've studied 500 hours to become a yoga teacher, and I've essentially started my own little business around those two aspects. I've also studied through IIN to be a certified health coach. So really taking the holistic approach to health. So it's not just one facet of just looking after the body or just nutrition, trying to look at the bigger picture of everything. And yeah, that's basically what has led me to this point in my life. Really
Yeah,
just
I'm
trying
gonna.
to lead by example and embody that whole world.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question with
Sure.
your expertise and also with your experience. Where do you see the corporate environment right now around the world? Because things changed and people are struggling with different things, and some people are working remotely, some people go to the office, and especially if you're working remotely, concentration is a huge problem, like focus concentration and also health, like, you know, of course, it's been going on for a long time around employee health, the neck problems and the shoulder problems and the physical health, and of course, people build up due to stress all kinds of, I think, eating disorders, or let me say, unhealthy, eating schedules. So, what do you think are the main problems employees
Sure.
are facing right now around the world?
Yeah. So, as I'm sure we're all aware, we've just gone through and starting to come out of a pandemic. But I think on the other side of that, we are still in a bit of a pandemic with relating to the corporate kind of space and the health of employees. Um, so I think it's a huge area that we need to put a bit more focus on the employees, because happy employees are going to lead to a healthy business. So we need to put a bit more focus on them. And like you've said, if people are still going to the office, oftentimes when they leave the office, they're not switching off. They're still taking their work home with them. They're still expected to be on call 24/7. There's no separation from work to home. And that's, as you touched base on, that can lead to stress problems. It can lead to mental issues and just general burnout and fatigue. And the same applies to that if one is working at home, maybe even more in that case, then you're really not switching off from work, because you're at home, your work's at home with you. There really isn't much of a chance to separate them at all. So yeah, I think it's an area we need to focus on quite a bit more. And there are things that we can do help the employees. So, for example, breathing techniques, trying to switch off the devices when you get home, so you're not going to be on call 24/7. Did that kind of touch base on your question, or would you like me to elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. We will. I mean, I think in today's situation, I mean, the thing is, every situation have equal benefits and drawbacks. So when you work in the office, there is this thing. When you're in the office, you are with people the whole time. You do meetings on and off, and you can't sit down for like 2 hours or 3 hours and really concentrate and finish one project. So there's a whole other way of distraction at the office. But at home, then there are other distractions like the door rings and and there's something to do with the house, and maybe you cook during the day, or whatever. Like, there are other kinds of distractions. And like you said, I think the most important problem we are facing right now with people who are remotely working is not being able to separate their personal lives with work. And it's like you're full on. And I was speaking a few weeks ago with one of my friends who's working with a professional, big enterprise. And she told me, like, I'm working 3 times more than I did when I was in the office, because now I'm at home. They just think I'm free the whole time to answer all their calls. So it's like, that's of course something to maybe chat on the enterprise level or maybe on the management level. But for people, like you said, to be able to get out of that zone and for our health, what can they do? I think it's very important to elaborate on that as well. What could they do during the day? For example, I wake up. I mean, let's go through one day and get some suggestions so that people have some ways to cope with. Like, for example, I wake up. What should I do in the morning, maybe to start the day fresh? I know some people will say, I don't have the time and all that, but I know they would have the 5 minutes, 10 minutes of time when they wake up. So, for example, when we wake up, how can we start the day more fresh? How can we start the day in a more healthy way? And then maybe during the day, if we feel tired, if we feel a little bit fatigue, or if we find ourselves where we can't focus or concentrate, or have neck pain, shoulder pain, some physical problems, also stress loading up, what can we do? And also at night, to switch off after work, what are the ways, like, what can we do?
Sure. So, yeah, it's a great question. And it's one of the areas that I focus on quite a bit. So let's start from the morning, right? So first thing in the morning, unfortunately, we have these devices now called cell phones that we're attached to 24/7. And one of the first things most people do when we wake up, we grab our cell phone. And then next to the bed, it's the first thing. You got to check your social media feed to see if you got any more likes on your latest post, or you checking out your friends' Facebook accounts, et cetera, et cetera. So I would probably start with not touching your phone for as long as you can. Let's say half an hour to an hour. You're going to get up and you're not going to grab the phone. You're going to start to prioritize your own little morning routine that you're going to go through to set yourself up for the rest of the day. Because if you pick up that phone, you're going to get sucked into social media, like I said, and then perhaps even work. And before you know it, you haven't done anything for yourself. You are just going from the moment you wake up till you go to sleep that evening. So that would be kind of my first point there, would be to leave your device alone for a bit, and then start to create a routine that you're going to have a successful day. So maybe I'm also a big advocate for doing your things in the morning that you might think you're going to do in the evening. But when it gets to the evening, you're too tired, or you've still got to, like you touched base on earlier, you've got kids, you've got to cook, you've got to do shopping, you've got to do house cleaning. So do your things in the morning that you might think you want to do in the evening, but do them in the mornings that they're done. And then by the end of the day, if you don't do them, you don't have that feeling like you failed or you're letting yourself down. So the morning routine might look like I'm going to wake up, I'm going to brush my teeth, I'm going to drink a glass of water, and then I'm going to take 5 minutes of quiet time. People might think, oh, I've just woken up. Why am I going to take 5 minutes of quiet time? But if meditation is a goal of yours and you want to do it in the evening, if you haven't done that for a week, you're probably not going to do it. So do it first thing in the morning. Start a little routine about that, a little habit. And then who knows, maybe that can unfold into the evening over time. So you're getting your meditation back.
I wanna stop there for a moment, just in the morning routine, because I think like we are the ones who do that. Like I have my own morning routine, and I'm sure you do have your own morning
Yeah,
routine. And in my own experience, I have experienced that people do not understand, do not really, really understand the benefits of that morning routine. So I usually find myself speaking about the benefits because people who don't have that morning routine, who don't stop and to tune in, um, I think don't understand the benefits as well. So maybe it's best to a little bit talk about the benefits because, in my opinion, I mean, I see life as in life, I see two different types of humans or human experiences. Let me say, it's not difference in our humanity, but it's the difference in how we experience our humanity. There are those who do not take time to tune in, stay with themselves, to focus, to just take some time to reevaluate their lives and just just take time for more awareness and for breathing and for tuning in. And there are those who do. So the main difference between them is the difference between living your life like a slave and mastering your life, which is big. Like that 5 minutes of exercise is all about mastering your life. It's all about not being a slave, saying no to life's distractions and demands. You say no to all kinds of life demands. You say no to your maybe your children, your daily routine, your phone, your email, your work, and you're like, I'm a master and I can do this. You say no, and you take time for 5 minutes and 10 minutes to just maybe go over your life, even like with breath work, with tuning in, because people who don't take that time and who don't have that morning ritual, I think don't understand that that morning ritual is or makes a huge difference in who you are during the day and how your life will unfold during the day. It's like if you build that awareness, if you connect with yourself, maybe do some intention exercises, do some breathing, even like during that breathing exercise, go over your goals and what do you want for your life that day, set intentions, set goals, just take some time to, plan your life, think about your life and build awareness. It's like it changes the whole life experience during the day. I mean, not just being more energetic and being more relaxed and starting the day with more consciousness and with awareness and more health, building that energy, but also like the way you behave and who you are during the day, and then the results you get from your work. So maybe it's best to talk about that big benefits of starting the day with a morning ritual, because I think we're tapping into something really important.
Yeah, definitely. I think that morning ritual, like you've touched base on briefly there, is that it gives you time to just take stock of your life. And to just really, as you mentioned as well, is just really tap in and check in with what's going on with you. We live in a world where we are bombarded with external stimuli 24/7. And you don't get enough time to really just center yourself and find out what's going on inside, mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically. All of these things play a part. And I speak from personal experience that when I started to incorporate these things like yoga, meditation, my life has changed. I have changed as an individual. And it really is an amazing experience when I'm speaking from personal experience here. When I look back at my life before I started this whole journey to where I am now, it's all just compounded, one thing onto the next thing onto the next thing. And it's just kind of, it's an amazing experience and journey to go through. And I don't mean this as like woo woo or out there or anything like that. It's proven. I mean, I'm not the only one. There are hundreds of thousands of people out there who are going through these experiences. And I think we are in a bit of a shift in terms of humanity starting to become more open to these things. And there's more research coming out on all of these things like meditation and breath work, which is only fueling the fire. And I think it's going to be hopefully not too long in the future where everyone is starting to incorporate these practices. So I think what you guys are doing is amazing by doing this kind of thing. So yeah, as to the benefits of it, I mean, they are really exponential. Like we need to just kind of, as I mentioned, take a step back from social media, from everything else that's going out in the world, and just really check in with what's going inside, because we don't spend enough time doing that. And when you start to do that, you'll start to evolve as a person, honestly. So it's a really actual fun journey to actually start to go through.
Yeah, it's all about, I think this is very important for the corporate environment and the corporate well-being, employee well-being. It's all about being a person who can do more. Like that's not like better, but it's like whenever you have that awareness, whenever you take time to connect with yourself, you do much better during the day. Yeah, like it's even like becoming a better human being. You start performing better, and that's why I suggest breath work to anyone who wants to succeed in business, because it's all about building up that energy. It's like when you think of it, it's like you work and you use your brain during work, and your brain needs oxygen to function. And imagine you have some dysfunctional or wrong breathing habits, and you're not focusing on your breath and doing something around your breathing to increase the oxygen level in your blood or cells or brain. You won't be able to concentrate. It's like it's that simple. It's like, it's not magic. It's like your brain needs oxygen if you want to think better, if you want your brain to function better, if you want to perform better at work, get better results, oxygen, and then of course health. It's like we see a lot of people losing their health because they work too much, stress too much. And I'm going to let you explain that, the health side of it, like the health benefits and why. Yeah, of course, it's like we don't even need to talk about the benefits of being healthy, but maybe you can lead us into, like, again, during the day, when we get back to during the day, to stay more healthy, to have more energy, to maybe heal or ease some physical symptoms. What are the methods we can use, or what can we do during the day and when the day ends?
Yeah, well, I think you touched base on something really important there, and that's that you get successful business people that don't incorporate any of these practices. I mean, they're wealthy and they have it all, right? Their lives are good from the outside, but are they healthy? Are they carrying too much stress in their bodies, their jaws, their shoulders? What's going on inside of their bodies? Is their digestive system healthy? So yes, on the outside they might be highly successful, but are they a healthy individual? I don't know. I mean, we would need to.
You know what they say? You know what they say? You lose your health to earn more money, and then you spend all the money you earn to become more healthy.
Exactly. Which is just the completely wrong way of doing it. So yeah, getting back to throughout the day, that morning routine is important. Look at what you can incorporate. That it doesn't need to unfold for a full hour if you don't have that time. 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if that's all you have, is a great way to start. And then maybe you could try and build up to at least half an hour by doing some breath work, meditation, and maybe a little bit of movement. I think that those three are a great way to set anyone up for a fantastic day. Meditation, some breathing, and a bit of movement. And I think you would be off to a fantastic day. After that, I would look at having a really healthy breakfast just to get your energy kind of going throughout the day. Something nice and healthy. I'm not going to have anything too high in sugars or processed. A bowl of oats topped with some fruit, maybe some nuts, is what I would recommend, or a loaded smoothie with dark leafy greens, banana, etc. And then say you now getting to the office and you're going to sit down at your desk, or if you're at home, you're sitting down in front of your computer, getting ready to get started. The time can slip away from you like that. And before you know it, you've been in front of your computer for hours. So maybe look at setting a reminder on your phone for every 45 minutes to an hour if you can. You're gonna stand up, you're gonna move around a little bit. If you're in your chair, maybe you just do a little bit of like chair yoga, if you will. Yeah, exactly. Rolling the shoulders, opening up, sitting up so that you can breathe down into the belly, right? Stretch out the lungs, open up. So we're not in this hunched position, which is also another problem that is I see with too many corporate individuals: rounded shoulders, tight neck, and they have that whole slouched over position, which leads to some serious problems later in life with their posture. So yeah, you're at your desk now for a while, you're doing a bit of movement. You're going to take a minute or two just to take some nice deep breaths, switch off for a little bit. Your mind has maybe been focusing now for a while. It's kind of like a computer, so it's taking in all of this information. The memory is getting full, so you need to just kind of clear that out for a little bit with some breathing and switching off. Then from there, you get back into your work for a little bit and carry on with your day. Nice healthy lunch. Nice healthy lunch.
Yeah, there I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna
Please.
add or ask something.
Yes.
With breath work, I find it rather easy to speak about breath work, especially the breath work exercises we do during the day. Is kind of like a reset button. It's like
Exactly.
anyone, whenever you feel too tired, especially in the mind, whenever you feel you're too much in the mind, you're losing your focus, it's like you're stressed, you're building it up, because it's like that's very human. We build up. It's like I'm also, I'm as the founder of breathhub, it's a startup project and I have a packed schedule, meetings on top of each other, plus projects and stuff I need to finish, emails I need to answer to and send to. So it's like during the day you build up, and then whenever you feel that building up, it's like too much. I think it's very understand first of all that that's too much. It's like it's like an engine, burning. There is this fire in your system, and it's actually fire in the system. It's like there is this inflammation happening because of working too much. And whenever that happens, I think being aware of those moments and just saying to yourself, if you want to stay healthy, saying to yourself, just stop, and taking time for just 3 minutes or 5 minutes and do some conscious connected breathing or some breathing exercises. There are, for example, a lot of exercises that leads to focus and concentration. It's like the reset button. Just stopping and pushing that reset button and doing some exercises, and then increasing the oxygen levels in your brain and blood and just switching off. And then you open your eyes after 5 minutes or 3 minutes. It is as if you woke up, you feel the same way you woke up that morning. Isn't that brilliant? It's like we have this technique, breathing, breath work, simple, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, you can do it everywhere. And it's kind of like this reset button. You push, and then 3 minutes later or 5 minutes later, you open your eyes and you're back to the moment you woke up that morning. It's just brilliant. I mean, I use it, of course, every day in my life, and I can't emphasize the importance of it, and during the day, it's like, let's talk about that a little bit, like, the power of breathing. And isn't it just amazing? It's like how it resets the whole system, and you're like, Go
No,
on.
it really does. And I think the problem is a bit of a problem goes back to what we spoke about earlier, is that people aren't aware of actually how they're feeling throughout the day. They're so used to, what I mean by that is they're so used to being in that state of high stress, go, 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 that they actually don't know when they reach that boiling point of where that fire is now up here. That's just like they think that that's normal. That's normal to be at that state. And that's just how they live their lives on a daily basis. And that's what leads to burnout. Or when you get home, you then have a big argument with your partner, or you can't bottle it up anymore. So when you're at work, you have to control your interactions, but it often overflows when you get home, and you can't control that fire anymore. So yes, taking little breaks throughout the day are really important, just to kind of check in and release some of that stress from the day and just reset, like you said. And it all starts with starting these practices. You have to just start doing them so that you can start to build that connection. And when you start to get in touch with yourself, you'll know, okay, I'm reaching this point where I actually just need to step back for a bit and just take a couple minutes for myself. And once you start to do that, your life will change little bit by little bit. You also mentioned this briefly. It's not going to happen overnight, but it is a practice for a reason. That's why it's called a practice. Like with anything that you want to get good at, you practice it over and over and over and over again. And eventually your life will start to change for the better. And you've attested to this, so by that it's fact.
Yeah, that's why breathhub exists, because I also see that. I mean, that's why actually we built the platform breathhub, because I know from my own experience and my students' experience that, people are busy with a lot of stuff and they have other values. Some people have other values than health or staying balanced. They at that time, at that period of their lives, they might be focusing on wealth building or building their business, and people really do forget about their health for some period in their lives. And I think giving them the opportunity to just have something in 5 minutes, like just offering food from outside because you don't have time to cook. It's like switching on breath hub and just finding the session you need. You need to calm down, a session, focus, another session, relax, another session, so that we have it ready made, because it's also very time consuming if you don't have a health value to go online, search for breathing exercises, find the breathing exercises you need, or even if you find the exercises, being able to focus there. The importance of content is, I think, it comes by. It's like the content is also very important, like having some content to work on, because it might get boring or you might not want to work on your breathing. Bringing breathwork exercises with content, that's what we're doing at breathhub, so that it is interesting and fun, may lead to building that habit, because building a habit isn't easy, and unless you build a habit, you're not going to get the best results. So that's why we created breathhub with the interesting content, breathwork exercises. You can just use during the day. Just choose whatever you need. Close your eyes. Just 5 minutes. It's like ordering food. You're ordering some sanity and some awareness and some cooling down periods
Of course,
in
of
your
course.
daily routine. And I'm gonna also come back to as we are about to end our podcast and our YouTube live, come back to, okay, then we ended the day, we are home, and now we built this energy, and now we can't relax. And we know we need to relax because our body needs some rest and good sleep, and what works and what doesn't work at the end of the day.
Sure.
Like, for
Sure.
example, does drinking a cup of coffee work at the end of the day, or does drinking a whole bottle of wine work? Like, let's give examples of what works, what doesn't work, or drinking 2 big glasses of beer.
Sure. I mean, everyone has their vices, right? And I mean, I can't tell you exactly what to do. I can only speak from my personal experience and what I advise other clients to do, and what I've seen work. So, no, coffee late at night, definitely a no-no. Probably have your last coffee at about 2 in the afternoon, so that it's out of your system, or predominantly out of your system by the
Yeah,
evening
I
and by the
think
time.
that's a great example because, like, I sometimes have students asking me, I can't, or stating, I can't sleep at night. And I just ask them a basic question: when was the last time you drank coffee? And she says, like, after dinner. And I'm like, of course, you're not going to be able to sleep. And then the
Yeah.
second thing is maybe like the phone or sitting in front of the computer, that light. Okay, I'm going to leave it up to you.
Yeah. Of course, of course. So yes, caffeine, stay away from when you get home. Set some boundaries with your work, because that is kind of what we've been touching base on. So you need to just separate yourself. You can't just keep on working till 8, 9, 10 in the evening. Yes, if you're a business startup and you're pushing your business, you're going to work hard, but you need to, for your health, for your mental health, just kind of switch off. The business will not fail if you stop working an hour, 2 hours before that 10 o'clock at the evening mark. So set some boundaries. You're going to switch off from work. If you like to watch some TV at night, I wouldn't do it too late. I would maybe get a little bit of TV in, but have a nice healthy dinner. And then at least an hour and a half before going to bed, you're going to switch off your TV. You're going to try and not get onto the phone. So minimal blue light exposure, because that stimulates the brain, keeps you awake. So yeah, devices off. You're then going to have maybe a nice cup of chamomile tea, if you like to do that. Not black tea, caffeine, and that is going to keep you awake, or green tea. Try and avoid that as well. And then maybe you're going to get into bed. You're going to read a book. You're going to use the breathhub app. You're going to listen and do some breathing. I personally, I teach fitness. I teach yoga. I teach breathing. I personally love being guided through those exercises myself. Even though I know how to do everything myself, I still like being told what to do from time to time, instead of having to think. That's the benefit of this
Yeah,
kind
it's kind of like we need that, because I think you touched at a very important point there, because it's like during the day you're in control and you're focusing and you have goals and this and that, to-do lists, and you're working like you're in control. Even if you do some breathing exercises, if you're alone, you're still in a way in control.
Yes.
But the moment, that's the same thing with me, like exactly the moment someone else guides you, you can fully let go. And that's the brilliance of
It's a
being
deeper
led by a
experience.
teacher and listening to, because you can just fully let go and just do whatever they say. And it's much more effective. Yeah, I think that's like very important.
Exactly it. I find it a lot more effective by just being guided through these things, because it is my line of work as well. I'm always thinking about those kinds of things. And you also mentioned it now, even if it's not your line of work, you are permanently in control and have to think. So it's nice just to switch off and be told what to do, and know that you are being guided by someone who has the expertise to do it effectively, right? So yeah, as I was mentioning, no phones, no caffeine, an hour and a half, all of that stuff off, starting to relax, reading a book for a bit, meditation, maybe some breathing through breathhub, and then lights out. You want to get to bed at a good time as well. I think that's also really important. Sleep is such an important area that's often overlooked in terms of health, because it's when all of our hormones balance. It's when the brain resets and kind of just files all of the information from the day. So you want to get to bed at a reasonable hour. Yes, I know some people say that they're night owls, but that's because they've built that habit of being a night owl. So if you can slowly start to change that little bit by little bit, if you're used to going to sleep at midnight, don't start to try and go to sleep at when the sun goes down at like 7, 8 in the evening. just little bit by little bit. You're going to push it back by half an hour, half an hour, half an hour until you at a reasonable time. I would like to say between 9 p.m., pushing it 10 p.m., lights out, and you're asleep.
So you're in South Africa and the lights go off at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Here it goes in London, it goes out at 5 p.m., sometimes 4:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, winter time.
Yes, exactly. I stay in
Yeah.
Durban, South Africa, so it's a little bit earlier than Cape Town. Cape Town's about 8, 9 o'clock.
8. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
dark.
I must imagine. Yeah.
But Durban, it's dark by about 6:30. So there's a bit of a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're in the north, it's like during summertime, the lights go off around 10 p.m. That's
Okay.
another story. 10:30. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Blackout curtains there.
Damien. Yeah. Thank you, Damien. I think it was a great talk conversation. Thanks for
Thank you.
everything you said. I think people who are listening and also watching us live, and also maybe we're going to watch us later on, will learn a lot. And I'm sure if they do what we say, if they can do even a little bit of it, like stop in between and take some time, they're going to get better results in their lives. They're going to start mastering their lives, and they're going to start becoming much more healthier. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
an amazing man, very healthy, very strong, I can tell.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a great day and have a great weekend.
You as well. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.